And I'm starting.
Okay.
Yes. Hello and welcome to another edition of Interview with Irene. Today my guest is the beautiful Virginia Wright, and she will talk to us about her life as a writer and illustrator. Welcome, Virginia.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Mm-hmm. Um, so how about we start by you telling us how you got into writing?
Well, from a little girl, I was always interested in writing, and I started out with writing poems and haikus and just anything, songs. I tried to write songs,
Uh,
and I started out with a little lock and key diary and that I got for Christmas one year, and then um and eventually I filled that up. My mother gave me a journal. I filled that up. I
mhm.
started filling up notebooks with little stories I would write, and eventually it all my writings filled a cedar chest.
Aw.
Yes,
That's so cool.
I love writing. I love writing.
That's beautiful. And could you tell us a little? You also wrote some about some important issues. Could you tell us about your Alzheimer's book?
Yes, my book is really not technically about Alzheimer's. It's about hydrocephalus, and it's about having a diagnosis of Alzheimer's, um, and it was the wrong diagnosis.
I,
So this was about my mother, and my mother was my best friend, and she started acting peculiar, and we would call on the telephone, and she started to say some things that were off the wall, and um it just progressed and it progressed, and one year in 2000, and I think it was 16, she forgot my birthday. And my mother would have never forgotten my birthday. And so this book is Who the Hell Are You? Alzheimer's, the Wrong Diagnosis. And the reason for that is she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And in the book, it gives lots of detail about different things that happened and about Alzheimer's and also about hydrocephalus. But one of the things that is important to me about this story is that had she not been given the diagnosis of Alzheimer's, she would probably maybe even be living today, because they started treating her with as Alzheimer's. And I always feel after this experience I went through with my mother, it's important for us as family members um, to be an advocate for our loved one. And doctors often will become complacent when you've been one of their patients for years and years and years. And you might come in and you have something going on, and they're like, okay, well, it's this or it's that. And it might not be. It's really important to get second opinions. And that's what we did. And when we got the second opinion, and she tried to be treated for the second opinion, it was just too late. So passed away. So it in the book it gives all the details and signs to watch for it, and it's just near and dear to my heart because my mother was my best friend. So
I know the feeling. My mom was my best friend too.
I
So,
know, I
yeah,
know it's difficult.
right. But this book, I imagine, will help so many people. So because once they obtain the knowledge, they can avoid the same mistakes and make sure they get their second opinion
Yes.
faster. Yes. Um, on a segueing to something different, you also have a brilliant cooking book. And I'm not the best cook, but I'm really looking forward to trying the recipes. Could you talk a little bit about it and also what one of your favorite recipes?
Sure. This book is another Down East cookbook, recipes from Maine, and it's a project I started many, many years ago. And when I was much younger, it's almost a 40-year-old project. And I thought it would be, I love cooking. And I think that's pretty obvious for those who follow me. And I post pictures of food.
And,
Uh,
and your granddaughter cooks with you, I saw.
yes, yes, yes. She likes Julie, yes, and she loves to cook with Grammy. But I started this cookbook by contacting Maine guides who take folks out into the woods in Maine and take them out hunting on trails and so forth in the backwoods of Maine. And some of these guides are some of the best cooks because they take the wild game, moose, deer, um, raccoon, and birds, pheasants, and partridge, and whatnot. And so I asked them, um, give me your recipes, and tell shared these recipes with me, and so I contacted them. I contacted lobstermen, fishermen, and I compiled all these recipes, including um, Bud Levitt, who was very famous many, many years ago locally, and he was an outdoor editor. Also, he gave me some recipes, and I just compiled it, and then I stuck it away in my cedar chest, and I thought, okay, one day maybe I'll do something with this, and basically it has a lot of wild game and seafood recipes. And I did put one of my favorite desserts in there, and that is wicked good whoopie pies.
You mentioned that I should try that one.
Yes.
Oh, this one. Yeah,
Whoopie
wonderful.
Yeah, whoopie pies are delicious. They're two little almost like a cookie. They're shaped like a cookie,
Mhm.
and they're cake-like, and then you can frost them, and you can frost in between. So you have this nice creamy middle and these two chocolate cookies, and they go really well with milk.
Nice. Yummy. I try to I'm trying to watch my sweets, but I think maybe I'll try that as
Yeah.
on
You
a
can
special occasion.
well, you can also freeze them. So you can wrap them and you can freeze them and you take them out. So you can make a batch and take them out for one dessert.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. You also I saw that you also do illustrations. You did some wonderful steampunk
Yeah.
illustrations for our wonderful dentist whom I interviewed previously. Could you talk about life as an illustrator?
Sure. I love illustrating, and I mainly only illustrated my own books. And I met Dennis Higgins, author of one of my favorite books, um, Pennies, and from Across the Veil. And he and I were talking about an up and coming book he was going to do, Steampunk Alice, a novella. And he asked me what I thought, you know, did I think I could do this, or, would I be willing to? And I was very, very nervous because I'd never illustrated anybody else's. So I thought I would give it a try, and I tried the cover first to see, what he thought. He loved it, and so he went with it. And I also did a few illustrations inside. Well, that same year, the cover won the gold in a contest. So I was really, really pleased for Dennis and for myself too for illustrating it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I was really proud of it. But I enjoy illustrating and children's books, and it's a lot of fun for me. I do it, just for pastime.
Nice. Any other hobbies?
I do. I love nature photography.
Mm.
That's one of my favorite things to do for a hobby. And I like going to zoos. I like wildlife. I like doing uh honeybees, bugs, spiders. I get as close as I can get, and take close-ups. And that also, if anybody follows me, they know I like to post my photographs, and I have an Instagram account, and can be found at Instagram, Wright.Virginia. And I just really enjoy taking
Yes.
photographs.
I could also link your Instagram in the description so everyone can
Oh,
see.
that would be awesome. I appreciate that. One thing I would like to tell you about my photographing is, uh, when I was a little girl, my father also enjoyed photography, and he had a photography studio. And he used to go and do weddings. He did portraits.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I got my love of photography from my dad.
Beautiful. Any advice for future writers or illustrators or photographers?
I would say my advice is never give up the dream. And
Mm.
I'm still working. I'm still dreaming, and but I think that's the most important, to stay consistent. Um, don't start and stop, and just keep working at it. And I think if you believe in it, maybe you'll achieve it.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Virginia. And hopefully, I'll have you again some other time.
Okay, I'd appreciate it. I love it.
Beautiful.
Thanks so much, Irene.
Thank you, and thank you for joining in another edition of Interview with Irene. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.